The city of Joburg has been left without a council speaker, this after the ousting of Colleen Makhubele. Congress of the People showed her the door after she joined the South African Rainbow Alliance. She joins us now to tell us her side of the story, as well as let us know what this new formation brings to the table. So good to have you with us this morning. Shall we say former speaker?
Former speaker, the president of SARA.
Former Speaker and President of SARA. Now, you sounded and looked just as surprised as I think many South Africans were when COPE announced in the media that, as they put it, you pretty much sacked yourself.
Yeah, good morning, Tammy, and also all the best to the Proteas. We were all shocked, shocked because this move was unexpected and the reasons for the sacking are totally disingenuous. And because President Lekota was very much part of the process of the formation of SARA, and he was driving the interaction with various presidents, recruiting them to come and join SARA, be part of what we're doing. Even last week, Wednesday, we're together recruiting Pastor Mukuba's church to come and be part of it. So he knew exactly what we're doing, and presidents were given an opportunity in September to go and consult with their structures and come back and give a go-ahead to now formally register SARA and to go ahead with a campaign of register to vote, the posters that you see, everything. President Lekota came back and gave the go-ahead. It's on footage, it's on everything. And we're sitting expecting him to come to a meeting now that we've got collateral posters out. We're supposed to plan for this weekend, voter registration weekend. And here I am, I'm getting sacked on television. No warning, nobody was informed, not even the presidents of the different parties and alliance partners that we have were given that opportunity, at least, to have the first bite of what was coming. And I really sympathize with my coalition partners in the city of Johannesburg, because the ripple effect of that sacking is that I'm, of course, now not a speaker. I could not have given them any warning. I found out the same time as they did, unexpectedly so, because it wasn't supposed to be. All of us had agreed in SARA to move in this fashion. People are still in their own parties. SARA's an alliance. They're still councillors wherever they are, but we're moving in one fashion. So for that, I couldn't have prevented it. I could not have forewarned them. I know there are urgent things that needed to go to council. A lot has been disturbed. It's nothing that I had pre-planned or unintentionally or intentionally, meant to happen.
What I'm finding quite surprising is, were there no warning signs? Because, I mean, you and Mr. Lekota were working very closely together in COPE. You say that it was the two of you trekking from one organization and one church and one party to another to try and recruit people to come and become part of SARA. Were there no warning signs beforehand that there may be areas of discontent from Mr. Lekota's side?
Look, we started to see some warning signs when I was chosen to be the leader of SARA. And my view and other presidents' view was that he was hoping he would be the leader of SARA. So
he was interim president of SARA, was he not?
No, in fact, we had put him as a president emeritus of SARA. So he's in the structure. If you're going to sack anybody for being in SARA, he should have been sacked as well, because the structure is clear. He was the honorary president, president emeritus. I'm the executive president, and there are other leaders that are also in the structure. So he was fine. We're presenting this structure to everybody. But, South Africa is not ready for women leaders. And you witnessed 4 men 3 days ago sitting at the birth canal of SARA, wanting to kill SARA for no reason, because this child looks like a girl. If it was a boy on the poster of SARA, I don't think COPE would have walked out. But because it's Colleen, it's a female, and there's a reason we don't have female leaders. There's a reason BRICS was here, 46 male presidents, none of them were female. When are we going to be ready for a woman, for a girl to be in a leadership position in this nation?
Would you not perhaps also put this onto the table, that maybe it doesn't matter whether it's a woman or a man, that Terry Lekota wanted his face on that poster as the president of SARA? So, look, gender aside...
It can be. I mean, if you look at the party as well, and I don't want to dwell much in Cope, because for me, let the dead bury the dead, you know. He's been a president ever since inception, and whether the party will go into Congress to elect a new leader before the national elections or not, God knows. So these are typical African leaders who will never leave the stage, you know, who will never then give an opportunity to young upcoming leaders. Whenever that opportunity comes, you become a Herod, waits at the birth canal to kill the child that will be king. This is what I think is the real reason. Other than that, COPE has been involved, given approval. They've been at the forefront of this thing ever since. But I've accepted the termination. And in fact, for me, life is with SARA now. I'm moving on with SARA. I've dealt with the emotional shock and sadness and tears that I had to go through, because it was truly unexpected.
So you were traumatized by this announcement?
Certainly, I was.
What was your immediate reaction, and how did you first find out?
I was sitting in a meeting with the other presidents. In fact, we were waiting for President Lekota. We meet every Monday, you know, to plan SARA with different alliance partners. He said he was not feeling well and he had an urgent meeting to attend to in Kempton Park. Then we continue with the meeting. We're planning for the upcoming weekend. I get calls from journalists like yourself. Reporters are phoning left, right, and center. I don't know what is happening. I thought it's something to do with the city of Joburg, to be honest with you. And when we broke for lunch, I look at my phone. Everybody was there. We were all shy. Literally, I was dumbfounded. I first thought it was a joke until I saw the press briefing itself. Then I had to put up my big undies and suck it up. You know, emotionally, I went through the turmoil. And now I'm okay. I did communicate with the chairperson of our political management committee the following day to say, at the city of Johannesburg, you know, to say, look, my apologies. This was not meant to be this way. COPE was fully on board. I didn't see it coming. Nobody saw it coming. I know the implication that it has, not just on the Joburg coalition. It has a ripple. We live in an ecosystem with different parties, and this coalition affects Ekurhuleni, it affects every other municipality because of the partnerships. And I was holding a key position. And I think the leadership of COPE didn't think far and broader enough. If they had given me a warning, I would have at least an opportunity to make representation. I would have explained all of this thing to say, yes, you can sack me, you can tell me, because you have the power to do so. They did it because they could, nothing else. And they did it, but they would have at least given us an opportunity. If you had been given an opportunity
to make those representations, would you have tried to stay on with COPE under SARA?
I would have, because that was the understanding of all the parties that were there. We stay with our different parties, but we've got SARA as a vehicle that will then lead us into elections. And that is the agreement that we've had in the meetings. Footage is there on YouTube, videos, etc. I mean, this whole process of how they handle it, it undermines also the intelligence of all the other presidents and alliance partners there. Because you can't have one person say COPE was not there, committed, when everybody else was part of the process with you. Says, but you came here and you said yes. We voted on this and you said yes. We agreed on this, you said yes. You know, everything that we did was with presidents and consulting their own various structures.
It's a strong word that I'm going to use, but I am going to ask you if you are going to be calling a spade a spade.
Yeah.
Did Mr. Lekota lie about the circumstances around your involvement and COPE's involvement in SARA?
Certainly he lied. He lied blatantly on national TV. And it's unfortunate. I honor him, I respect him, but what he did was totally disingenuous. He could have handled it better, in my opinion. And if it was not a lie, he could have been able to come to me and say, you've done X, Y, and Z wrong, make your representation. The fact that that door was not even slightly even opened. And people are there, the other alliance partners were willing to even go and do written affidavits, you know, oath, to say, we've been here, we've been with this man, he said this, he said that, and it's all in there. But I said it's not worth it. For me, the time perhaps had come to an end to serve COPE. I've served them to the best of my ability. They gave this black girl an opportunity to be in a big platform and lead the city of Johannesburg. I was new in politics. They took a chance, they had confidence in me. For that, I'll forever be grateful, you know, and I know I did not fail them. I held my head high, I held the COPE flag high. But everything sometimes comes to an end. We may not like the ending, but it signifies the beginning of something great, something new. And I think this is what South Africa is looking for.
And I'd like us to talk about what you call something great, what you call something new. But before we move on to that, what do you see as the future of COPE? I mean, by far, you have been the most vocal and out there, leader of COPE. We see you at marches, yes, by virtue of being a speaker as well. You're the only, council member from COPE right now, or you were the only one from COPE. What do you see as the future of COPE as far as their leadership is concerned, as far as their following is concerned, and just their existence as a party? Because some did see you as perhaps that ray of hope for the party.
Look, Tam, if you allow me, I wouldn't want to voice my thoughts on that because I think it would be unfair. They are trying to chart their way forward.
It would be unfair for who?
For me to pronounce on COPE because I don't know what it is that they are planning to do now. Look, let me tell you this as a matter of fact. COPE 2019, when it went into elections, national elections, it was at 0.2%. That's how they got the 2 seats. Now the national threshold is going to be 1%. I don't see what COPE has done to move from 0.2% to 1%. If I give you an idea, 48 parties contested 2019 elections. Only 14 made it. And the top 4 is ANC, DA, EFF, and IFP, and I think Freedom Front. The rest of the 9, ACDP being the top, was 0.84 downwards. And ACDP, and all of those other minority parties. What has happened in these parties that suggests to you that they are coming back in 2024? What have they done that suggests that they have grown their membership base, they've made an impact, built trust with the electorate and gave confidence that they can actually deliver anything of value to South Africans. So I base my assertion and our view of forming SARA was based on that. To say at this stage, all of these minority parties have really not made an impact and have not really served the electorate well with the votes that they were given. But if this had combined their votes from ACDP onwards, those 9, they would have been the 4th largest party in South Africa. They would have been able to have a voice to push policies, to implement programs, to be actually serve your communities that have voted for you, that deserve some kind of a service from you. So for me, you're asking me a difficult question. I don't want to answer it in my opinion. I'm answering it in terms of numbers, which don't lie. From 0.2%, which you were likely to get a 2nd seat because of number crunching, they could have gotten 1 seat. What have you done as Congress of the People right now that suggests that you have grown that base to 1%? That is the question that they must answer.
And as far as SARA is concerned, what is the way forward for you and what are your expansion plans?
Look, I think SARA has launched in an unexpected way nationally, and we appreciate the support and all the positive feedback that we've gotten from people that we don't even know, and also the criticism that is allowing us to sharpen. Where to from now? We are going to the 18-19 weekend. We encourage all South Africans to register to vote. Henceforth, we're going to be all over. In fact, maybe this presents an opportunity for me. I'll be traveling throughout the nation to every province now to engage physically, connect with our voters, campaign and mobilize on the ground and tell them about our message. But the immediate thing that we're going to be doing, first week of December, we'll announce the date, is where we're going to come and tell you what are our policy ambitions, our strategic objectives, who are our leaders, and the difference that we have amongst all the coalitions, the moonshot and everything, is that you're going to go into election knowing that this SARA alliance or coalition, whatever you want to call it, has a leader called Colleen Makhubele, has this caliber, competent leaders that are going to be running portfolios or departments, whether in government or premiers, etc.
And where are you sourcing those potential leaders from? Are you going into business? Are you going into government?
Everywhere. Alliance partners, business, communities, political parties that we have. One thing that we've been missing in our democracy, we have an opportunity every 5 years, like now 2024, to get rid of bad leaders. But we don't have a system that says, how do we select the right leaders? Because that's a very good question. And in SARA, one of our distinguishing factors is that we're not going to come because you have 3 numbers more than me, 4 numbers more than me, want to be a kingmaker, therefore make me this position. It's not about position and power. We have a system of looking at competency, qualifications, moral standing, character. And that's how we're going to be selecting our leaders now. Not after you come and you have, done your best to get 3, 4 numbers above another and you think you're going to come and bully everybody. No. Now we select our leaders and then we know who's going where. We agree now. So we're going into elections. We've got a structure. We've got a format. Post-elections, we don't have time to be fighting for point positions. It's time now to go back to work.
How confident are you of the impact that you are going to have within SARA? Obviously, they selected you for a reason, to be the president of SARA. Many would argue that your impact is very much, provincial. It's very much limited within the Johannesburg municipality. What is your trump card that you are going to be using as you go around the country? Because now you going all the way to the top, you say it's the presidency that you are going for.
No, certainly. Look, I think you underestimate the impact of Joburg to the whole nation, and not only to the whole nation, I dare to say to whole Africa. There is, of course, a lot of work to do to push the brand Colleen out there and to push the brand SARA out there. But people know who Colleen is, who Colleen stands for, because of the work that we've done, including some of the challenges that we've faced, and they've seen me walk through those challenges and shoulder them, to the best of my ability. And everywhere we are getting calls from people who have seen me as a speaker, who see me now as SARA. And of course, this negative publicity was not desired, the shame and everything that they desired to project about me and the lies that they desired to project about me was not okay. But it has also helped to propel SARA, because everybody now is asking about who's SARA. They see the posters, they hear this woman has been fired for SARA, and that has created an interest. And we're going to then use that as well to capitalize on it. But South Africans know who Colleen is. They know what I bring to the table, how I have served the city of Johannesburg, competent, qualified, educated, compassionate, love people, and leadership skills I do have, and I bring a lot to the table. And I don't see why I should not occupy the first position of this country.
Woman president?
Yes, the first female president. The next BRICS summit must have a female president from South Africa.
And you have put your hand up for that?
And that's why I got fired.
Talking about that, for me, I must tell you, somebody sent me the poster with your face on it. And this is obviously before the announcement. And I was initially very shocked. And I was asking, is this fake news? Is this real? So the entire announcement seems to have been quite clumsy. Looking back now, what would you or could you have done differently to communicate and perhaps also ratify expectations? Because when we saw you, we saw COPE. Now all of a sudden we see your face and there's SARA behind that face.
Look, there were 2 strategies behind that. I think our first foremost was to create disruption, because traditionally people want to come in and in the same format that everybody has come in, have a press briefing, announce, and then do posters. Like there's a formula that you are given, this is how you must follow. If we're going to disrupt the political structures and systems of this nation, we can't come in the same way that other parties have come in. Otherwise, we're just like the rest. And one of the things that sponsored that thought was because throughout our journey building SARA, from August, we've been calling media to come. And I wish media had come to some of our press briefings, because President Lukota would have sat there and he would have been communicating this vision. And media did not come. You know why? Media was not interested until there's a controversy, because that's how the world works. When you get a shock, there's a controversy, you want to go and understand what is happening. And that was executed very, very well. Everybody was asking themselves, what's the story, what's happening? We didn't anticipate the firing, though. We were going to have an announcement proper and, build it up from there. But then the firing just kind of threw us off the rail. If I could do something better, I think perhaps I would have communicated more with President Lukota to understand how he was thinking and feeling, to avoid the Monday scenario. I think that's the only thing that if I was to go back to change, I would change. But other than that, the way SARA came in, she came in unexpected. She came in like a child that, you know, did not follow any rules. And we are happy about it, because those that are hungry for change, they don't want the same thing, they're tired of, you know, status quo, they resonate with it. SARA will not resonate with everybody. I made an example, and Rev Makhubele, I'm quoting his example now. He said, Bob Marley, when he first released this reggae music many years ago, journalists will come to him and say, this genre of music, we don't understand it. There's no audience. What are you trying to do? And his response was that this music will find its audience. I'm not doing it for everybody. It will find its audience. And many years after he's gone, his music is still finding audience that are being born. SARA is like that. It's not like what you have tasted and seen before. And it's finding its audience. People that know that minorities must come together, must unite under one banner. Stop confusing voters. 492 parties registered for IEC. How are you going to page through the Bible and find a party? It's insane. And we're saying the same thing to the electorate.
And how is this now going to affect bigger political parties, the established political parties, going to churches every time there are elections to, I guess, put down their manifesto and to woo the crowds? Because your target audience also includes churches, yes, NGOs, religious organizations.
Look, they're in serious trouble, and they know it, because when we talk about churches, we're not talking about them because we want votes. We talk about churches because we believe in the church. We have the moral clarity that the church bears, and the church knows us, and they've been walking the journey with us. So we are not coming there as people that just want their vote and we're going to go and do something different. To the contrary. The current parties have let down the churches. You know, they have removed godly principles from schools, removed godly principles from society, from parliament. They've introduced policies that are totally contrary to what the churches stand for. And here we are. We are from the church itself. Most of us that are sitting around this table of SARA have the same moral clarity and moral beliefs. And we know that without social order, social control, without getting godly principles back in our society, this nation, we can't remedy its fall. It's really going down.
I'm going to have to let you go, but I really can't let you go without asking you this question.
Yes.
That you leave the city of Johannesburg in quite a mess at the moment. The DA still says that you as the speaker need to be held accountable for Brink's appointment and election. Yes, the council has now, you know, put a leave to appeal the ruling by the Gauteng High Court.
Yeah.
What is the way forward, especially regarding your own personal accountability as the speaker, as far as Joburg is concerned?
Look, let them bring it on. I'm ready for it. I'm always ready for opposition, because they must oppose anything. And Brink was not voted in by Colleen. He was voted in by the whole council. The report to appoint Brink was brought in by the mayor and the mayoral committee. It was a council decision to vote him in, you know. And you know, sometimes you need to understand how council works, so that you don't get swayed with opposition trying to find relevance in things.
But the DA knows how council works, and they're still pointing to you.
I know they have to point to me. Who else has the cloud? Who else is creating SARA? Who else was the speaker? You know, they have to point to me because it's opposition. But if you understand how council works, Colleen does not, as a speaker, does not appoint Floyd Brink. Do you understand? It's a council. A report is brought in from the mayoral committee, tabled in council to appoint Floyd Brink. So that's what I'm saying. If you understand how council works, immediately you can hear that they're just blowing air, and for airtime perhaps, and you know, to keep themselves relevant. But let them bring it on, and we'll take it from there. The mess of Floyd Brink, by the way, was created by them, Popalate, when she was a mayor there. And the DA multi-party, they are the one who started all of these shenanigans of trying to create investigations against Brink and removing him from the top list. It was really a mess. And then because they wanted to appoint Maduka, they didn't want Floyd Brink. You know, he came number 2. They didn't want to appoint him. When their number 1, Johan Metler, who had issues with a relationship with Palatse, which he didn't declare, and he had to be, you know, set aside. Brink was number 2, was supposed to be appointed. Then they started investigations that were not there. When he was cleared, And the report came back to say he's clear, let it go back to council to appoint him. Now there's an issue. So they know why they're targeting me, because they don't want to go back to why we got. SARA is an alliance, it's a pact comprising of minority parties like this. Faith-based organizations, South African National Council Christian Forum. We also have alliance partners as traditional leaders, Roleza, that have pledged their allegiance and their loyalty to us. We have many churches that we have been meeting with that are committed to supporting SARA and to ensuring the success of SARA in 2024. We stand for moral clarity. We stand for courage to pursue a better South Africa. I was terminated. I didn't leave. I was fired. We were sitting here waiting as presidents, waiting for President Lukota to come to a meeting on Monday, as we usually meet. We were all not aware. He told us he's not feeling well. He's got an agent meeting somewhere in Kempton Park. I get calls from reporters to say, you are fired. I was not told, I was not consulted, I was never given an opportunity to even make my representation, because the journey that we took here was with President Lukota side by side from day one. Go to the videos. How he decided to go and hold a meeting. We had to stop our meeting on Monday and decide to call this press conference. All of us were sitting here waiting for him while he's firing me there. So unfortunately, I sympathize with my coalition partners. I also got the shocking news the same time that they got. Perhaps they got it earlier, because I only found out post, when all of you were calling me for interviews, and I had to digest, understand how am I fired, what are the grounds. The grounds is that I've joined another political party. Which political party? I was here with President Lukota from day one. So you can clearly see that there are no grounds. We've chosen not to challenge that termination as well, just to close that point, because clearly it's not worth it. This is the future. SARA is where we are going. SARA is a baby that is alive and kicking. We want to let the dead bury the dead. And here, we are talking life. We are talking the future of this nation.
The South African Rainbow Alliance says it is not like ordinary political parties, but rather a pact formed by like-minded political parties, civic and religious groups, with the goal to give a voice to minority parties.
If you look at all these coalitions that are being put together, there's one common denominator with them. They are being led by the big parties and dividing the smaller parties. You should go and ask the Moonshot Pact. We now know that on the IEC register, there's 492 parties. Why did the Moonshot Pact choose the parties that they chose and leave the ones that they left behind? Why is some of the big parties when that, you see, there's a pick and choose amongst the smaller parties, and we are saying no to that. We are saying as smaller parties, we must dictate our own trajectory. So we come together, form ourselves, organize ourselves, and we will dictate the direction we want to take.
The Alliance's Executive President Colleen Makhubele says they are going to focus their attention on young unemployed graduates, among other things.
And we're going to organize ourselves effectively to give South Africa a team that you'll have confidence in, a team that will govern, a team that will clean up our streets, a team that will restore dignity and order in our communities, a team that will restore godly principles in our schools, in our society, a team that will not be afraid to take the economy back into the hands of the majority of the people. You're going to have a team that is going to work day and night to make sure that all our young people are employed.
When asked about her exit from COPE, Makhubele says it was a shock to her, as she was never informed about the decision.
I was terminated. I didn't leave. I was fired We were sitting here waiting as presidents, waiting for President Lekota to come to a meeting on Monday, as we usually meet. We were all not aware. He told us he's not feeling well, he's got an urgent meeting somewhere in Kempton Park. I get calls from reporters to say you are fired. I was not told, I was not consulted, I was never given an opportunity to even make my representation, because the journey that we took here was with President Lekota side by side from day one. Go to the videos.
The party will be officially launched next month. SABC News, Sandton.